Hey guys, welcome to Proko. This is a critique episode. I'll be destroying your forearm assignments. Anybody that submitted in the Facebook group will probably be getting a critique today. So the assignment was to do quick sketch drawings of the photos that I provided you guys. I reminded you to start with the basic forms. So the drumstick of the forearm, the block for the wrist, the major form of the ridge muscles wrapping around that drumstick, and then after you got the major forms, split up those forms into the individual muscles if you could see them or if you think that they're important for that pose. So let's see how you guys did. So there's a few common mistakes I'm going to cover today. There's problems with basic structure. There was shading without understanding the anatomy that you're shading. I'm going to fix a bunch of anatomical errors. So things about, muscles not going into the right places, things not tracking correctly, or too many muscles, or muscles that should be split up into other muscles, or they're wrong shapes, or whatever. Anatomical errors, just things that are obviously wrong. There's gesture problems. And then at the end, I'll give a few shading tips, because some of you guys started trying to shade, but you're going in the wrong direction. So I'll try to give you some tips on shading so that you could start heading towards the right direction and get a better 3D effect to your drawings. So all of that is available in the premium video. If you're watching the free video on YouTube, you can go there, get all that premium content. Or you could just watch this free video and you still get some useful advice. So this first one is Wael, and I feel like your shading is too soft. You have to commit to your shapes. Just like I was just talking about, designing the contour shapes and the forms, designing the actual outlines of the muscles, the same way you have to design the shadow shapes. Even though a shadow shape isn't necessarily, a form that is actually wrapping around or twisting, it's one plane of the form. But still, that shape needs to be designed. It has to be clear. I feel like none of your shadow shapes have a clear shape to them. They're very blurry. It's like you feel like maybe you're not sure exactly where to put the shadow shapes, so you are very vague with them, but that doesn't really make your drawing look better. It'd be better if you just focused on outlines and like boxes and cylinders and stuff, and it could look more three-dimensional with just lines than what you did with tone. A great example of that is earlier on we saw Domantas' drawings. Very three-dimensional, no shadows. So you could do a lot with just focusing on lines if you're not comfortable shading yet. But since you are starting to shade, you might as well commit. Even if if it's wrong, if it's not the right shape, as long as you commit and as long as you make it look intentional, it'll probably look better than a blurry shadow shape. So for example, right in here, this shadow shape, I'm not really sure where it is. You should probably figure out where's the plane change. Right here, right here. There's probably a bottom plane in here of this bicep. And then is this all shadow, or are some of these actually getting some light on them? I don't know, it's very vague. Some of them, you have a shadow shape, like I can tell that this is where the shadow ends, but then even there, I wish there was a clear core shadow and then a cast shadow coming off of that deltoid, connecting to another clear core shadow on the triceps, and then shaded in with clean tone all the way through. Contain your shapes. That's gonna be the big word here, is containing your shapes. So instead of a blurry shape like this, and you're kind of throwing in some tone at the side of the pencil, instead you're gonna figure out the shape. Okay, here it is. It's something like that. That's the shape I draw. And this is just random shape. I'm not drawing anything specific. I'm just showing you, this is a blurry shape where I'm kind of unsure. This is a shape where I really try to design something nice and then fill it in. The second element to that is the edge of the shape. In your case, all of your edges are soft. what you have to do is figure out what is the actual edge. Is it sharp? Is it soft? Or is it in between? So in general, core shadows are going to be soft if it's a very long or a very round form, like a thigh or a pec could have a round form. Cast shadows are going to be sharp almost always, unless the object casting is really far away. And then bony areas, even if it's a core shadow of a bony area, that's going to be sharp or firm. So look for the edges. Is it a blurry edge? Is it a firm or one in the middle? Or is it a very sharp edge with a crisp line? Make those decisions and then decide exactly what the shape is and indicate it like that. No more vagueness. Commit to your shading. So let's take a look at Felix. Felix, I feel like you're heading in the right direction. You're committing to some shapes. Like, I could see that's a very clear shape. That's a very clear shape. In here, very clear shape. But then you're missing a few elements. Like the core shadow in here is a little messy. What I would have liked to see is a softer edge for this halftone coming out. So you still have a sharp core shadow, but then the halftone is soft. And instead what you have is a lot of cross-hatching, which is very large. Your cross-hatching is large and it's kind of random. It's not indicating the tones and the edges correctly. Cross-hatching is still supposed to indicate the right shape and the right edge. You're just doing it in a more linear way, right? So if I have a core shadow and I indicate that core shadow with a few lines like this, and I know that this isn't a box, it's not a sharp edge from one plane to the next, I'm going to have to show cross-hatching going over the form like this. And then maybe a few going this way to soften that even more. So now when you squint, you could see an edge in there. You can see that it softens from black on this side to white on this side. And my cross-hatching is wrapping around the form and it's tapering from dark into the light. A lot of your cross-hatching doesn't show the forms very well, and a lot of it is too dark. So on this side, this hand, so let's compare yours to mine. You have cross-hatching in this area, and it's very dark, it's very similar to the shadow. I have a little bit of cross-hatching in there as well. And it's going in the same direction as yours. So we both decided that the form is wrapping around in the same way. But mine, the lines aren't distracting from the form. You can feel that bubble. On yours, it just looks like a bunch of lines. Because I have values. Each line has a value to it. It's either light, medium, dark, whatever the tone is. So, and I also have planes. This is a halftone plane. This area in here is a highlight. This area is a darker halftone plane. And then this area is a transition from core shadow to halftone. And then I have overall much more contrast between shadow and light. Your shadows and your light and your halftones, they look like almost the same value, so there's no contrast. So just making your cross-hatching go in the right direction is not enough. You still have to think about the planes that your cross-hatching lines are indicating. What value is it supposed to look like when you squint at the cross-hatching? When you squint at your cross-hatching, the lines disappear and it becomes tone. And when you squint, it should look like the right planes in tone. So do that. Do that a lot when you're cross-hatching, is squint. And if it feels like the right form, then you did a good job. If it feels like everything just mushes together into mashed potatoes, you didn't do a good job. So that's what I feel with yours, is that the cross-hatching is just getting messy and dark, and you're not thinking about all the planes. Except this one. This drawing you did, I am starting to see some nice subtle cross-hatching that's showing good plane changes. right in here. Very good work. It feels like you really thought about the plane changes and you indicated it with cross-hatching lines, and they're subtle. They're not distracting like you have, like, you know, it's not like giant thick lines going across the forearm. It's subtle lines wrapping around and then get a little bit lighter as they go into the highlight area, and then you get an area of highlight and then some picking up again and then some dark. And there you have a form, right? This is wrapping around a curved forearm, for example. So it's subtle cross-hatching, not something like this, where the lines look like tattoos or something. Whew, okay, we're done. Thank you guys for submitting all your assignments. I know it's hard to show to the world and be criticized in front of everybody, but that's how you learn. So thank you for submitting it. The premium video has all the critiques I did. I'm having a baby boy soon, in a few weeks actually, so I'll be gone for a few months probably. Don't miss me too much. The leg course will begin. It'll happen. It's just I need a little bit of time to figure out this whole fatherhood thing, but I'll see you soon. It's not going to be too long. Before you know it, or before I know it, he's going to be 18 and out of the house. So, so anyway, thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed the critique. I'll see you in hands. Hey, you made it! If you're really loving it and want a free model sample pack, subscribe to our newsletter at proko.com/subscribe. You're gonna love the videos in the premium section. You'll get more drawing demos, extended lessons, printable ebooks, and 3D models that you can spin around, study, and draw from any angle. If you don't want your drawings to look like this, go to proko.com/anatomy.